Yes. Good evening, everyone. This is Shruti from Inspiring Seniors Foundation. I'm a project coordinator at Inspiring Senior Foundation, and I'm really thrilled to welcome you all today at the first session of Beyond Resumes. And I'm really glad to have with us Mr. Krishnakumar sir. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. And I would really welcome all the esteemed guest faculty of Science Institute Technology and all our dedicated mentors, Kalyan sir, C.K. Krishnan sir, Malti ma'am, and Vimal sir. And also, I would like to welcome our founder, Malti Jaswal ma'am, and co-founder, Bhuvna Natarajan ma'am, and all dear mentees. Thank you once again for joining us. And we have our founder with us today, Malti Jaswal ma'am. So I would request ma'am, before moving further with the sessions, because through Malti ma'am and Bhuvna's ma'am vision and efforts, programs like this are possible. So I would request Malti ma'am to say a few words about Inspiring Seniors Foundation.
No, it's okay. I think we'll begin the program and we'll let Bhuvna do the talking. I have, in any case, bad throat and very bad cold, but welcome everyone. And thank you so much, KK, for taking time out and, addressing the mentees. We hope this program is making a difference to the mentees, understanding and confidence and presentation and communication skills. It is our privilege, I would say, to mentor them, not the other way around. And we are really grateful to our mentors also, for taking time out. Over to you, Bhuvna. Thank you.
Thank you, Malti. So I have the privilege of introducing Mr. Krishnakumar Mahalingam. He's a friend, so it's always hard to introduce a friend, right? But more than anything else, above everything else, he's one person that I really admire. And I think as mentees and, mentors and teams from ISF, we are really lucky to have Krishna Kumar with us, KK, as he's known to many of us. KK is a technology leader, somebody who's always, thinking innovatively, an innovator par excellence, as I would say. He's spent 2.5 decades, 25 years in the tech world, has a diverse set of experience ranging from SAP Labs to Honeywell to JP Morgan Chase at very senior positions. Currently, he's with Microsoft. He heads the e-commerce and AI engineering unit as a principal engineering manager. Prior to this, he was in ED with JP Morgan. So we are very lucky to have him with us. And KK's journey is something that, is very inspiring. And when you hear from him on how he kind of made this journey from a classroom to the corporate leadership position that he holds today, I'm very sure it's an example to follow, a person to emulate. So KK, a big thank you for agreeing to, address our mentees. Over to you. We are eagerly awaiting your talk for today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Malti, ma'am, and Bhuvna. Bhuvna is a very close friend, and I almost meet her on a daily basis. So it's nice to be in this setup. At the same time, it is very strange that we both are talking in formal language. Okay. When Bhuvna came to me and said you should address the people in this session, I first asked, who are the people? Are there inspiring seniors? Are there college students and so on? And I got a background that you're all somewhere in the 3rd and 4th year of engineering or similar courses. You're all aspiring to grow in corporate careers. So somewhere, so I asked, do I do a technical session? Do I talk about the latest technologies and so on? She said, no, that will be a different session. Here you will talk about experiences, you will talk about life, you will talk about encouragement to the students and so on. So I also felt it very relevant. On a Friday evening, what are we going to talk about technology? Okay. So I guarantee you for the next 45 minutes to 1 hour, it's going to be more of a storytelling. It's not going to be anything boring. I have prepared some script for myself. I'm going to share some experiences, share some thoughts, and more importantly, I have 3 stories to tell. Okay, so I love to share stories, and so you can, you hear it in the flight, right? You can sit back, relax, and enjoy this session. It's not going to be heavy, but at the same time, I guarantee you that there will be some key takeaways. Let me start off this session with a short introduction about me, and then we will go from there. I come from a very, very, very small village, a village in down south of Tamil Nadu, in the outskirts of a town called Tuticorin. The place where I come from had absolutely no water at all. When I say absolutely no water, no municipal connection, no groundwater. This was my childhood. So, predominant part of my childhood, what I remember is carrying a pot of water from a very far distance, bringing it home, will be what I used to do for most part of the evening on a working day after school or on a weekend throughout the day. So if you would spend close to about 8 to 9 hours, we could collect somewhere around 10 pots of water. That's it. So which means a pot of water, fetching it from that distance and bringing it home. And so we were living in this kind of a lifestyle. So today I'm very grateful to what I am today. The people might think that where do you live? You live in Bangalore, you drive a car. But for me, the biggest thing, a dream come true moment is when I open my shower and I'm able to take a shower in my bathroom. That was something like a dream 25 years back. So when I look back, I'm very, very grateful to this journey in the last 25 years. So life was not so easy, but one thing I would like to tell is there is nothing that stops you. The main purpose of sharing this childhood experience of mine is you can imagine what is the kind of exposure I would have got in that kind of a place. So I did my schooling there. After schooling, I don't remember a single day I would have played a cricket or anything on the street because predominant time was spent on fetching water. That's how my childhood was. Then I also want to share the good, bad, and ugly parts so that it would resonate with a number of people here. I was most of the time a school first, class first kind of a candidate. But in my 12th grade, I don't know what happened. I could only get 82%. That 82% was not enough to go to any premier institute at all. I struggled to manage to get an engineering seat, that too at a not so much free quota at that time. The fees was high. My father used to struggle and got into a private engineering college. An engineering college which was way far from my hometown in the middle of mountains. That engineering college had not even a canteen to have a cup of coffee. This was the place where I did my engineering. Not a single company would come for campus recruitment. This is where I did my BE computer science for 4 years. At the end of 4 years, the entire batch of 50 got out of the college with no clue of where we are going to head on. This is how my college life was. Why do I share this? Because there would be a lot of you who would think that, hey, I studied so well. I could have got into maybe the best of the best colleges. I could have made my future so good, but something happened. I need to be in a much better place. Things change, miracles happen. That would be the theme of this entire evening to talk about. So this is where I started. So one day evening, me and my mom were going on a scooter, and I turned towards my mom and said, how much money do you have in your purse? She said, I have 280 rupees. So I said, where are we going? She said, we are going to buy grocery and all the materials for the house. I said, can I turn towards the railway station? You book me a ticket to Bangalore. She said, why? I don't know what I'm going to do in this small town. Let me figure out. Don't book a return ticket. Just send me to Bangalore. Then she said, you are from Tamil Nadu. Why do you want to go to Bangalore? Why not to Chennai? And then I said, it's May, the month of May. Chennai will be very, very hot. At least Bangalore will be slightly colder. So let me head to Bangalore. That's how I came to Bangalore with probably 1,000 rupees on hand. And today I can look back my journey and share it with you. Today I'm settled in Bangalore. My kids are studying here. My wife is working in ISRO. So this is where I am. So I would say, if you think that the future is bleak, you don't have a clear, concrete picture of what is going on, how to move ahead in life, how to find a job, how to get campus placement, how to put yourself in front of the corporate interviews and so on, life will have a lot of speed breakers. But you should be somebody like, if you go to these speed breakers here, there'll be some people who would have carved out a small space by the side of it for the two-wheelers to crack down, right? You should be somebody who is able to navigate like that. So that would be my reflection of my past. Today I work for Microsoft. I work in one of the biggest product engineering teams. And I can definitely say entering Microsoft was a dream when I landed in Bangalore in 2001. It has taken 25 years for me to realize my dream. Maybe at that time I wanted to crack the aptitude test and the coding test and join as a software engineer. That time multiple attempts failed. But maybe after all the experience and moving to multiple companies, I have ultimately reached the destination at a much different level and a much prestigious level. So there are no regrets that I lost so many times in the past. Now in this journey, what I would like to tell is, you will meet a lot of people. There will be some people who will come to you and say, hey, enhance your communication skills. Communication is everything. You need to present yourself. You need to have an appealing talk about, when somebody says, tell about yourself, you should be having a good charisma that attracts the interviewer to you. Somebody might come to you and say, you need to be strong technical. Any kind of coding problem thrown at you, you should be able to solve it. Somebody would come and say, learn Python. Somebody would come and say, learn Java. Somebody will throw a lot of artificial intelligence and machine learning courses. You will not be able to cover those courses. Many times it goes above your head. It needs a background of mathematics, statistics, and so on. So I interact with a lot of students, and the typical challenge that they face, they have shared it with me. And I really empathize. It is not the same for everybody. The background and the brought up differs. At the same time, the exposure differs. The interests differ. The economy levels differ. So all are not starting at the same plane. Now, what is to be understood in this whole thing is, but all of you have one thing in common. If you have 24 hours, if you have the energy to do something, that is not different. You can definitely make a difference. Now, to be very honest, let me ask you to switch on the video, or even if video is off, not a problem, at least unmute yourself. How many of you hate coding? You're all in computer science or electronics or some kind of engineering backgrounds. You can raise your hand or somehow give me a signal. How many of you really feel that coding is really not my cup of tea, but I'm thrown into this? How many of you do this? How many of you have this feeling? The number goes 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, double digits. Go on. 12, 14. That's
Looks
it.
like you have touched the raw nerve. Yes, most of us hate coding.
So approximately 50% out of 33 participants, if 14, 15 people have told that coding is not my cup of tea. So let me ask the next question. If that is the case, what are your hopes? What are your fears? You can unmute yourself and tell. You landed up in an engineering degree or similar degree. You might have landed up in a CSE department or an ECE or something like that. What are your hopes that these are all the things that are going to come great into my life? So I am very hopeful of this. And what are your biggest fears? Anybody would like to unmute yourself? Go ahead. You can talk.
We would love to hear from you, please. There is nobody watching. There is no right answer or wrong answer. There's no judgment.
Let's go with this. What are your biggest fears? Let's talk about that. What are your biggest fears? What do you fear about?
Not being placed, sir.
Not being placed. Okay. What else? Anybody else? Okay. Let me rewind back again. What age do you think I would have started filling applications and started preparing CVs? Any thoughts?
Any guesses?
20.
Around 20s.
I remember preparing my first CV at the age when I used to do 11th standard, if I'm right. I had a fear much earlier than most of you. You are having this fear at the age when you're doing your BE. But I had this fear when I completed 10th standard, because I knew very well that while I do my graduation, my father would have already retired. And I am in a town or in a village where there is not much of an exposure. So at that time, the best thing that I felt was, if I need to get out of this place, at the same time get into a decent job, the best way would be to go into defense. So my first application in my 10th, 11th, 12th standard was to defense, to try NDA or to try all the 12th entries, the airman entry, all of that. I used to buy employment newspaper when I completed my 11th standard. That was the time I started this. Then after some time, my father said, no, you're getting into engineering. You complete the engineering, we'll figure it out. When I completed the engineering, the status was the same. There was no campus placement. And I have already described how my college was. If that was the kind of college, then you would have known what is the kind of exposure we were having. We came out of the college with a BE CSC degree, not even capable of writing a simple C++ program. I used to struggle to write a simple C++ program at that time. Maths was definitely not my cup of tea. I somehow managed to pass my engineering mathematics subject. Okay, these are confessions of a Microsoft leader. You can put it in social media, no problem. So maths was definitely not my cup of tea. The moment maths is not your cup of tea, all your analytical puzzles, which you have to solve in every second, was out of the game. I couldn't solve any of that because maths was my weakness. Then the most important thing, I did not enjoy programming at all. I will make this statement very bold. I was not comfortable giving syntax, compiling it, and running a program. And often you come across, okay, you have to do the logic like this. You have to prepare the whole program like this. This is a slightly, no, the simple, straightforward programs also was not my cup of tea. But today, I have spent 25 years of my career in IT industry. So first and foremost thing I would like to emphasize to you students, it is not way different. If you think that, oh, coding is not my cup of tea, mathematics is not my strength, I'm not able to do analytical puzzles, no problem at all. I will tell you how. In this 25 years, if I look back how many months I would have coded, maybe 16 months, 1 year, 4 months or something. In my very, very early years, in one of the companies, I would have gone to a compiler and started keying in code and compiling it and executed it. But afterwards, I have been on so it doesn't mean that I have moved to a non-technical role. Today, I am heading the engineering division of Commerce plus AI. But the whole point is, There are a lot of people who are not comfortable with syntax, but they are very good at design and architecture. You tell me how to model an architecture for an enterprise company, how sales, purchase, finance, order management, all of this works. What should be the data? How should the user interface look like? What should be the kind of integration we have? What is the security we need to have? I would have enough material to share in 10 different conferences. But coding is still not my cup of tea. So there is no problem at all. Coding is a phase in life where it's an entry barrier. Suppose there are 1 million students coming out of Indian colleges. There needs to be some filtering criteria for the companies to shortlist. That will be syntactical coding checks. So the first thing I would like to tell here is, I'm not saying you can become all successful in IT industry without coding. I'm only saying that it need not be your strength area. It can be somewhere you might have your strength which is outside coding also. Maybe communication, maybe articulation, maybe diagrams, maybe trying to summarize things, maybe planning, maybe estimation. There could be a number of things that you will carry as skills, but coding may not be the top 10 skills you would have. Doesn't matter at all. That's the first message I would like to give. Now, coming back to the story, how did I start? I landed up in Bangalore. I was not placed in any campus interview. There was no campus interview at that time. And it was 99, the first recession of the world. So the world did not know what was a recession. At least we hear the word recession every alternate year in news channels these years. But we did not know what was a recession. We used to give resumes and we used to give paper-based resumes and it will go to the dustbin right in front of our eyes. Now, the only thing that I was aiming at that point of time is I have come from my hometown. My father has already retired. I need to first stand on my own legs. So the moment I talk to somebody today, the Gen Z, if you are given this kind of an offer, what is the offer? What is the designation? What is the technology I need to work? Do I get to work on it? There are 100 questions asked, but I did not have any single question at that time. My aim was to stay independent in Bangalore, manage myself at least for a year, and then step on from there. Since it was recession time, all the Wipros and Infosys and all the companies were not hiring. I was very, very happy to take a role of an EDP assistant in TTK Prestige pressure cookers. This is where I started. After a BE computer science with close to about 78% of marks with no arrears, I took this job and I said, I started this job and you wouldn't believe they were using Fox Pro as the coding language. And you getting a chance to code something was a big thing because there were already people who were there doing coding. So they said, you are a new guy, you are a trainee. Your job starts at evening 6:30. You have to take backup of all the code. This was the task. So I used to work between 6:30 and 11. During the day, I had not even got an opportunity to touch the computer. This is where I started. Life was really a hell at that time and very much a peanut salary, but I was still happy at that time. I kept on pursuing my search for a government job. I would say that should be something everybody should do in your life. Between this age, 21 to 26 is the time you should definitely try for government. You should have the habit of buying employment news, looking at government portals, ISRO, DRDO. You look at all the top-notch government organizations. Maybe you will crack that. Now that will take your career into a different height altogether. I can definitely say my wife works for ISRO. The kind of achievements and the kind of platforms they work on is much, much bigger than all the big Amazons and the Googles and the Microsofts. They have that much. You might not have a flashy title. You might not see a LinkedIn profile, but they definitely do a lot of feat within DRDO and ISRO and all other companies. Between this time, you won't get a chance to apply for a government job later. After 26, 28, you are not even eligible for it. This is the only time window that you get. Now, in this period, if you want to change tracks, this is the only way. For example, you are doing engineering, but you want to get into probably a defense kind of a job, or you want to probably do something else. Try in this phase where you apply for government jobs parallelly in addition to the corporate jobs. For some of you, I will give you ISRO takes a lot of engineers, BE freshers, DRDO takes a lot of freshers. Indian Air Force has engineering job. They definitely have an IT wing right next to my door. These are areas where they have cutting edge, bleeding edge, even AI technologies leveraged to the maximum. Definitely have this habit. You won't get this chance later. This is about, I kept on pursuing this government job searching for many, many years. And suddenly one day this clicked. So I started my career in TTK Prestige as a trainee. But in 2000, I got a job in Indian Telephones. And for many of you, you know this company called Indian Telephone Industries, ITI. There was no interview, there was a test I wrote, and suddenly there was an appointment letter in my doorstep. I went and joined, absolutely no work, literally no work. I found that people used to go in, punch in, and sleep. I was really feeling that there is really no work happening in Indian telephone industry. So that was a public sector. But places like ISRO, DRDO have really great work. But this one government organization where I joined had no work at all. At this point of time, I felt that I'm wasting my time, but at least I was happy that I had a 7 to 3 job. From 3 o'clock till night 11 o'clock, I had 8 hours to spend on my own. I was really happy and enjoying the beauty of Bangalore and so on. But there are many people I never forget in my life. I would like to share. Same place where I live today, 10 blocks away, there was a company called Logica, and I attended an interview there. And there was a person who really humiliated me in that interview. He said, "Why you guys come and apply for this? You have passed out of your college 2 years back. Now again, why do you want to come to software?" He really humiliated me. That was the turning point. I can never forget this person because he was the person who jolted me. That day I decided, okay, I've lost touch on a lot of coding. Now again, I want to prepare. I started looking at C, C++. That time Oracle was very, very popular. So I started searching. That's when I clicked this job with SAP. Now, if you are saying that I don't have a programming know-how, let's say you are taught Python in college, Java in college, these syntaxes are not something your cup of tea. This was the same situation. I was also there. I was not enjoying C, C++. I was not enjoying a number of programming techniques. But at that time, I clicked the job in a company called SAP, where the programming language was not C, C++ or Oracle. They said, "We have our own programming language, ABAP. We will train you. Are you ready to take it?" That was really the cherry on the top of the cake. I said, definitely, because this is my chance to learn it from scratch. I joined the company. I attended a 45-day training at their cost. They taught me ABAP. At that time, I did not realize that SAP is going to be the largest ERP of the world. I just took it as a job. I started coding. I was not as fast as other people. My leads went to the manager and said, "Hey, this guy is not okay. You will have to fire him. He is not technical like others." So my manager was put in a fix. He was really worried. He called me and said, "I give you 1 week and 1 module. I know 1 week is not enough, but you have to prove yourself." That was the real time I really ventured into coding. That 1 week I will never forget in my life. I learned all my basics. I did it. I proved that I was able to code. So I crossed that phase also. After that, 1 year or 1.5 year max, I was a developer. But in this time, I really mastered that language ABAP. Whatever was taught in the college, I was not able to grasp it. But when my first job, I learned this programming language. But from then on, there has been a constant pursuit of other skills in IT. For example, I was mentored by a number of people. In all of this, I want to really give you a piece of some advice here. This is something I recently heard. So it should not be a monologue of my experience and so on. So I really want to make this session very interesting. So I'm going to deviate tracks now. I'm going to make it very light with some stories, jokes, and so on. Recently, something I heard from Chinmayananda courses. So somebody was saying, what is the real meaning of success? So he said the real meaning of success is 3 factors. Prayatna, Kala, Daiva. This is what I'll repeat. Prayatna, Kala, Daiva. If you look at anybody on earth who has made big success, Prayatna means effort. Kala means timing. Daiva means basically the blessing of God. All 3 has to happen for somebody. Let's say Prayatna, you put an extreme effort, but your timing is bad, or you are not having a faith in God. Nothing happens to you. Let's say you really have put a lot of effort. You really have the best time, but you need that divine blessing for for miracles to happen. If you believe in prayers, definitely it happens. I believed that from that small town, when I came to Bangalore, the biggest board I saw was Microsoft. And I believe that one day I will be inside this glass building. It might have taken 25 years, but I am in that glass building today. So you need to have that unshakable faith in God. You need to believe that unshakable efforts. You should be putting your efforts. If you are going for an exam, if you are going for an interview, if you are going to meet somebody, if you are going to do something, you should have no doubts about whether I could have done something better. You should have done your best and you should have left the rest. That should be the way of your life. Let's say tomorrow there is a company that is coming to do a campus interview for you. For this interview, what all I can prepare? I know a certain set of subjects. Let me revise that. I want to Google about this company and know basics about it. I will talk to somebody and find out what they are doing. I will do a well-rounded preparation of what all sources I have. I go and say, now I stand in front of the interview. Now you crack the interview or don't crack the interview. But once you are out, if you are rejected, you should not have an iota of doubt. I could have prepared a little more. That should not be there. The prayatna feeling should be complete. This is something I always believed. I was not a smart guy. Coding was not my cup of tea. Mathematics was not my strength. But effort and homework, I always believe. Even today, when I go to a number of meetings, there are lot of geeky technical experts in Microsoft. They talk a number of things. Some of the meetings go above my head. If you will go at a principal level and say, hey, I don't understand this, they are going to look down on me. On the other hand, if you ignore, you will start ignoring a lot and you get sidelined. But what I do on a daily basis is I note down things, I come back, sit at night, Google those topics, talk to somebody who's an expert, fill that gap. This is something incremental. I keep on plugging the gaps. If there is a new technology, if there is a new concept, you cannot be an expert. All of you cannot be an expert, but you can be a person who puts on constant effort. If you are a fresher today, you are thrown with a lot of jargons. You have to learn AI, you have to learn programming, you have to learn DevOps, you have to learn databases, you have to learn integration, you have to learn security. It will be overwhelming to take all these topics one shot and then say, hey, I am not able to do all of this here. I give up. I will do some other job. No. You take DevOps. For a 2-week period, just spend 15 minutes on DevOps daily. At the end of 2 weeks, you have at least a one-pager that talks about the key aspects of DevOps. Then you talk security. Then you talk AI. Then you talk ERP. Then you talk analytics. At the end of probably a 6-month, 8-month window, you will have a diary full of one-pagers with all the basic concepts. You have to build it brick by brick by brick. Now, I want to tell you a story and then switch back. So, if you are doing your duty, and just leaving the rest, miracles do happen. I want to tell a story. So there was a king who went for hunting. Okay, all the people who have already been asleep, now it's the story time. You can get up. Okay. So there was a king who goes for hunting. At some point in the forest, all the tribal people catch hold of that king. They are about to kill him. So they are going to give him a bali. So the king is caught and he is helpless. At that time, there were 4 men who come there, who fight with the tribal people, rescue the king and bring him back safely. So now what happens? The king is so happy. He says, I'm ready to give anything for you. Ask. You saved my life. Ask whatever you want. The first guy said, I am seeing a nice muttu mala on your neck. I want that. Please give it to me. They immediately took it off and gave it to him. The second guy said, I don't have a house to live. I'm literally on the streets. I need a house. The king ordered, saying that build the biggest house on the palace street and give it to him. He told his minister he should have a proper house on the palace street. Give it to him. He got the house within few months. The third guy said, I don't have a job. Give me a job. I really need something for my livelihood. The king said, you are a warrior. I like you. Tomorrow onwards, in my palace entrance, you are going to be the chief security officer. You will decide who can come in and meet me. You are going to be the chief security officer there. The last guy said, I have done my duty of saving the king. I don't expect anything in return. I am fine with whatever I have in life. So thank you so much. But the king insisted, no. I want to do something for you. Tell me what you want. So the flick of a moment, this guy said, I don't want any wealth or house or anything. Why don't you come to my house and dine with me? Why don't you are a king? I'll be so happy if you will come to my house and have lunch with me or dinner with me. The king said, fantastic, I will do it. You saved my life. I'm going to come to your house. So he said, next month, same date, I'm coming there. 10 days before that date, the minister came. He looked at all the places. He said there were no roads. He said, lay down all the roads. There were bushes all around. He cut all of that, made beautiful gardens around the house. And there was a small kitchen. It was not enough. So he said, make a big pandal so that many people will come. We have to cook for so many people. He made a big pandal. He made so many arrangements. King came, had a nice food, and then he was so happy. He had a nice feast, and then he said, thank you so much. Every year I will come to your house on the same date. So this happened, and word of mouth spread all around. And suddenly one day, the next year, the same day came. This word of mouth went to all the nearby villages. 16 villages, all the people came to see the king. So it became a very big fest. Everybody started celebrating this occasion when the king is coming to this guy's house. So this became very, very popular. The third year, the king said to his daughter, the princess, hey, I'm going to this guy's house. It is a lot of fun there. Why don't you also come along with me? So he took the princess along with her. The princess and the king went and dined with this guy. There was a big feast arranged. People were enjoying. People were celebrating. So this girl really, after seeing him, said, this is the guy whom I want to marry. So she told her father that I'm so happy with this guy. See how he has transformed the entire village. I want to marry this guy. So the king also felt it was okay. He saved his life. So he was a warrior. His daughter likes him. He's a very good guy. People also like him. So he said, okay, let's get the marriage done. The marriage was done. And in about 6 months' time, some strange fever came and the king died. They were looking for the next king. Somebody has to take the throne. So the only person was the daughter. So she married this guy. So this guy was brought to the throne and he was named the next king. Now, this story, at least to Bona herself, I would have told it 3 times. And wherever I get an opportunity to connect the story, I tell it. In the story, I often see a number of things that connects my life to it. The guy who wanted the mala stayed with the mala. The guy who wanted the house is still living in that same house in the palace street. The guy who wanted a job was just waiting as a security guard in front of the palace. The guy who did his duty and did not expect anything about the return eventually became the king himself. So miracles do happen, and it happens in a very big way. You cannot dream about where you will reach and what you will become. You will not even able to define it in your wildest dreams. You need to believe that. That belief, you call it Kala or Devam, doesn't matter. That belief has to be unshakable. So that's the reason I asked you this question. What is your fear? Throw away these fears. This moment of your life, believe that you are going to be the best. Put your efforts and leave the rest. That would be the key message that I would like to give you. So here, there are many things we do in life. For example, there were a bunch of people who were doing a homam in Yagam and all that in want of rain. All the villages came together. But only one small boy came with an umbrella. The remaining people just came. The belief was so strong in that boy that he came with an umbrella. So he believed that if we are going to pray to God for rain, rain will come. So let me take my umbrella. That is the level of belief we need. That is the level of thought process you need. That is the level of preparation you need. So do your duty. So when I talk about all of this, it becomes very abstract. For example, oh, this is all philosophy, this is all story. How does it work in my daily life and so on? Now, let me give you simple things. You have named the session as Beyond Resume. Look at it from not an angle of this is my resume. Just look at it, remove your name and see, is this the best resume I can create? You will definitely not agree. You would have made this resume 6 months back or you would have made it 1 month back. Doesn't matter. But if you look at it, you should be feeling that I have at least glanced through 25 different resumes and this is the best output I can make. And I have at least reviewed it with 5 different people and I have adopted all the changes. If you do this, you are doing justice to that one small piece of work called resume building. Why do I say this? Because there is a background to it. Today, if you prepare a resume and send it to any company, not necessarily Microsoft, send it to any company, there is something called ATS scoring. What does ATS scoring? If you want, you can Google it. You're all in front of the computer. So how do companies work? If you go to a Microsoft or a JP Morgan or a Honeywell or a Google, anywhere, they announce one position on the social media, LinkedIn. Within the evening, they get 800 applications for a senior level position. If it is a fresher position, within the evening, on an average, they get 9,000 applications. This is stats, what I'm talking about. Is it humanly possible to open 9,000 PDF documents for somebody and say you are scheduled an interview? No. So there are tools like SuccessFactors, like Workday. There are many HR tools. What it does is, for the job description given, match the CV, do a fuzzy logic search, give a scoring, and with that scoring, whatever is the top 10 resume, schedule it for interview. All of this is machine learning. All of this is automation. There is no human involved. So if you are a fresher, again the same thing. There is an internship program. There is an expectation that you will be working on a certain department or a technology or a process. If your resume does not have that, you might say, I did a final year project here. my mummy works here, my daddy works here, my neighbor works here, I have done this training, that certification. But at the end of it, relevance is the key word. Relevance of the resume to what. So what it means in today's world is a CV as a document is not enough. A CV tailor-made to every requirement. Suppose you decide to apply for 5 different companies as an intern. You have to prepare 5 different CVs in line with what they have announced. The keywords have to be the same. The technologies, the skill set have to be the same. If there are expectations that you will know some processes like a sales process, or if you are expected to have some AI ML skills and so on, you tailor make that resume. For a AI ML advertisement, if you will send a resume with Java and Python, the screening tool scores you at a low level and your resume doesn't even come for shortlisting. So this is about resumes. So if you want, you can note it down. You need to tailor make your resume per JD. This is a golden rule today. Whether you join as a developer or a director, it is the golden rule to be followed today. I want to move to the next step, but before that, I would like to pause a minute and ask if there are any questions or anything you would like to ask or any further info you require on whatever I have shared. So I'll take a minute and then continue. Open it up. You can unmute yourself. Okay, at least give me a thumbs up. Is it so far so good? Is there anything that you want me to cover? Because there are a number of topics. I don't think we will cover everything, but if there is a specific topic of interest, we can cover that. So is there anything that you would like me to cover in the second half of the session? Okay, let's move on. Now, you have a fantastic resume. You have done justice to it. You have reviewed it with people. Now you have a wonderful organization which is conducting this session. If suppose you will flash your resume to Bhuwana or any of the organizers and say, give me feedbacks, help me prepare a world-class resume, that would be something they would love to do. So make sure you might think at a fresher level, what is the big difference I'm going to have in the resume? First thing is, there is nothing like I know it, I don't know it. For example, if I am going to apply for a job and if I know Python and Java, and let's say that particular job description is expecting me to know .NET or let's say AI ML, I will add that to my resume. But if I get an interview call, I will prepare at least one night on .NET or AI ML basics. And when I go to the interview, I'll be honest to say that I have a base. For example, I'm good at Java and Python, but I have collected so much information here. I have learned something on .NET. These are the machine learning algorithms I know. I don't know all the machine learning algorithms, but 2 of the machine learning algorithms I can explain. If you will be honest in articulating this, the interviewer will definitely connect with you. He will say, okay, what are the 2 machine learning algorithms do you learn? Can you present that? Where do you put that into real life? But that 2 machine learning algorithms, do justice, learn it well, Google it, prepare a real life example and present it. If you want to pick up something like that and want to know how to present it, you can reach out to me. There are many other people who are ready to guide. Ma'am, I have found a particular machine learning algorithm. I would like to spin it off like a project or share it as an experience in my interview. How do I do this? Can you give me an example? There will be umpteen people to guide you on this. Now, having said that, I wanted to actually share a small deck which I actually pulled it from one other conference that I did. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Today, in most of the companies, they say, I want a full stack developer. And I see a lot of enthusiasts saying that I am a full stack developer. I'm a full stack developer. The resume, you see this word. Now, if you really mean who is a full stack developer, you need to know front end, you need to know back end, you need to know a little bit on databases, you need to know the coding deployment, the CI/CD DevOps pipeline in one of the cloud like an AWS. I given an example. In addition to it, maybe AI, ML or mobile development and so on. Now, if you really put this into technologies, I have at least list down 3 or 4. Is it possible for a BE fresher to know all of this? Tell me an honest answer. It's impossible. So if somebody is saying, I need an expert who will answer the high-end questions on Golang, Python, SQL, Postgres, MongoDB, AWS, no, it is not possible. So this is a hype. This is not an expectation. But on the other hand, if I am going to talk to you and you say, I have done one project for library management system and I've used Python for it and I don't know anything other than Python, I'm definitely not going to select you in the interview because your funnel is so narrow. So what is the ideal candidate whom we want? We want a candidate who will present a T model. What is a T model? You see the letter T. Have you seen the letter T? There is a line on the top and there is a line on the bottom. The line on the top is composed of many dots. I know a little bit about DevOps. I know a little bit about architecture and design. I know a little bit about databases. I know a little bit about AWS cloud. I don't know anything about Google Cloud. I know a little bit about Bitcoins. I know a little bit about blockchain. So you have composed the top line with a number of dots. Then you say, on the bottom line specialization, I am good at Python and I have finished a certification and I have done a final year project on Python. Or you say, I am good at .NET. I am learning Java now. With .NET and JavaScript, I am attempting my final year project. Somebody is guiding me on machine learning. We are learning 2 machine learning methods. This is the first time I am trying this. You can ask me anything on Java, but machine learning, I only know these 2 methods. Now, this is the realistic way of presenting yourself to an interviewer, where you present your personality as a T model. We don't want jack of all trades and a master of none. We definitely want a candidate who is having the top line of the T as broad as possible, and the bottom line of the T must be a specialization. Now, it is very difficult to find out what is your specialization. For example, coding is not my specialization. It took several years for me to understand that I can move away from coding and take design and architecture as my key strength. Coding is not required for design and architecture. Your architectural principles of integrating systems does not depend on one single programming language. So if you have to look at yourself, this is not something if you are looking at this organization, if you will go to somebody in this organization and say, hey, tell me what is my team model, they cannot tell you. They can probably engage you with a discussion and say, hey, you tell me what are all the things you have learned so far. Where are the additional learning points that you can do? Suppose you have been learning Python for the last 6 months. Don't spend another 6 months to do a certification. Probably do your certification on something else. We are not going to weigh the certifications by kilograms and say you are getting an offer. We are going to look at how diverse you are on the top line and how strong you are on the bottom line. That will be the model to present yourself. So if somebody asks a question, tell about yourself. This is the place where we decide the fate of the interview in less than 3 minutes. When I go to a college, my HR gives me a target. We need to close the interview at 6 o'clock in the evening and catch the flight at 8:30. And the time we are starting is 9:30 with the auditorium talk. And the moment we go to the interview table, it's 11 o'clock. Between 11 and 6, there are 5 people who have spent flight tickets, accommodation coming to your location. In this window, we don't have the time and luxury to ask so many questions. The first question is tell about yourself. So many people will give you coaching. Be more confident. Use the right words. Do full sentences. Even if you're not good at English, speak whatever comes. These are all fine. But what about the content? The content cannot be, I am so and so, this is my name, I am from this town, I did it in this engineering college, I am from BECSE. No, all of this is in your resume. Don't waste your time saying that I am from BECSE. If I am coming for a campus interview, I know that I am interviewing somebody from BECSE. Do not tell this. On the other hand, I will be really impressed if there is a candidate who comes up and says, I am so and so, I would like to present myself in a T model. These are the topics I am much familiar with, but there is one topic I am really strong about. You can ask me anything on this. I have done a final year project like this. On an overview, this is how that project looks like. If you would want me to explain it on the board, I am ready to do it. I am passionate about something. I would like to get this job. If this is the way somebody is going to interview, if you present yourself for an interview, it really creates a spark. This is the message I would like to give you. So you need to be very different. And especially if you are talking to product companies, we are really bored of the stereotypes. Everybody coming and saying name, which division of engineering and which town you come from, what is your father doing, mother doing, and then giving the same old format. Break the format. If you will break the format, you are going to talk about something new. If you are going to talk about something new, do not get into risky territories. Don't say, my passion in life is artificial intelligence. Within the next 2 minutes, he will ask something which is cutting edge, bleeding edge, and knock you out. Pick up what you can really talk about. Do not boast yourself with overconfidence. Pick up something where you are able to present yourself in a humble way, at the same time give an opportunity for the person to evaluate you as a person. This is very, very important there. So when you present yourself, if you have to do this, you need a script. This script cannot come offhand. You cannot say, okay, I want to present like what KK sir told offhand. No, you won't believe. After 25 years of interview also, 25 years in the industry also, if today I am applying for a senior management position, I have a script on the diary that is just below my desk. I will really have the points that I want to tell. So I encourage you, all of you, to prepare that script, which will be exactly for 2 minutes. And the most important thing is, no interviewer is really interested in the tell about yourself question. They are actually waiting for that one word. Suppose the interviewer is an expert on cloud. Suppose the interviewer is expert on blockchain. Is in the entire talk, if you are saying in my final year, my elective subject was cloud, or if you are saying that I did a project on this, or you are telling somewhere in that script that word, he is waiting to interrupt you and say, okay, what have you done on cloud? Or what have you done on blockchain? So you need to be extremely careful about preparing that script. It should give a teaser to that interviewer saying that, hey, I want you to ask this question, man. This is the word I want you to take it as my next question. That's how you prepare that script. This is about facing the interview. In this, we can do a complete training for a day, but these are topics for your consideration in a fresher interview for sure. Now, if you have done your resume part well, if you have done your communication and articulation part well, if you have picked up that entire picture that I showed about a full stack developer, and not mastered everything, but you have some facets where you can present your good, bad, and ugly pictures, that brings you as a very practical person. So we will look at you. This guy has prepared very well. This guy has got a view about what the company does. This guy has also got some technologies where he has been very strong with. He has a passion to learning. He has applied whatever he has learned on his final year project. He has picked up a real world problem statement. I would like to tell you something. Recently, there was a college in Bangalore. They had a symposium and they had asked me to come and deliver a talk. So as usual, there are student representatives. So there was a student representative who was supposed to arrange transport for me from my residence to the college. The student representative actually came in the cab. They need not have done it, but that student also came in the cab. I got into the cab. The cab went on for 58 minutes. So I was sitting in that cab. He knows very well that I am from this company. In that 58 minutes, there was not a single word she spoke to me. She was in the front seat. I was in the back seat. As soon as I got down, she said, "Welcome, sir." And then I went and gave the talk. But these are the areas where I want you guys to do a difference. You might meet somebody in a train. You might meet somebody in a random place. Use the opportunity to interact. If I were in your position and you were meeting me, KK, the first thing I would ask is, "Sir, can you give me 5 questions that I can prepare on? Can you tell me which topic I should master in the next 6 months? Is it worth doing this certification? I'm trying to learn AI ML. I'm not able to do it. I'm not understanding statistics. Is there an alternative for this? Or should I must know AI ML?" These are the kind of questions you should take mentorship on. So you should first know a list of questions when you meet experts. For example, here, Bhuvana Natarajan, she has worked in IBM for almost 2 decades. If you will talk about anything on the latest aspects, she will be able to give some kind of guidance. You can go, if suppose that topic is not their area of expertise or domain, they might point you to somebody else. But you need to have an agenda. So if that student had used 58 minutes and said, I would have even prepared a resume in that car journey. I would have even given her an exact interview question sheet in that car journey. But she really lost that opportunity. She wouldn't get that again. So there is a real gap. Gen Z is talking so much on social media. But when there is a real opportunity to meet people, talk to people, interact with confidence, you are shrunk. This is typical that I see here. You are very bold on the social media, but when you are really in a private location where you are there, nobody is watching, but you are not bold there. You are okay to pass comments where thousands of people are watching, but nobody is watching. You do not want to open up and talk. These are attitudes that you will have to change. You should be able to embrace this kind of changes when somebody suggests. Talk to more people. You will be able to crack it better. The most important thing, there are many people who would have come from small backgrounds, villages, towns, where you would not even have great internet facilities. Try to have a fast track program for yourself. If you have nothing done so far, I do not know any programming language, I'm not an expert on database, I have not learned cloud and so on. Don't think, okay, this is 6 months, this is 6 months, so totally I need 3.5 years to prepare all of this. No, don't estimate it like that. Go to a mentor and say, hey, I confess that I have not done anything on computer science. Give me a fast track program of what are all the things I can learn so that I can attend an interview properly. Take a formula based approach. That would be the way to size it down. Now, In that, if suppose you have picked up machine learning algorithm, you have decided to pick up Java or .NET or whatever, then check whether that is your specialization. For example, if you have done a course, if you have done a certification, stay on that platform. Try to go in depth. Definitely, you might lose one or two interviews which are not on that platform, but your turn will definitely come. Miracles do happen. So today you might go for an interview and that guy might fry you on AI ML questions and you answered 0 of them. But tomorrow there will be a person who will be looking for .NET skills. You will be a rock star on that day. Believe in these miracles. I would like to quote an incident. There was a person who did PhD and then was trying for jobs. This is again a story for you. Maybe story time again, people can wake up. Okay. So there was a person who did PhD and was trying for jobs. This person applied to Bangalore University. Bangalore University conducted 7 rounds of interview. After the 7th round, they said you are selected. You can come and submit your certificates and you will be appointed as a professor in Bangalore University. The person submitted the certificates. Within a week, Bangalore University reverted back saying that your university is not having the deemed status. We are not really sure whether to accept your PhD. So your candidature has been cancelled. We will not be able to proceed with the offer letter. This is what happened to that person. The person came back home, cried a lot. I don't have an opportunity. I don't have a job. My PhD is not from the reputed university. I am not able to, even if I have cleared the interview, I have not got the offer. What will be my future? Where am I heading? I don't have a job. What will be my tomorrow? This is what the person was crying. Eventually, that person got selected in DRDO, became one of the distinguished scientists there, and eventually became the president of India. We are talking about Abdul Kalam. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam was rejected in Bangalore University for a post of a professor just because of his PhD conferred from a different university. Imagine that he would have got a job. You will meet him as Bangalore University professor only. Life takes a lot of turns. Life takes beautiful turns. And at every turn, you are filled with surprises. If you think you come from a village, if you think you have got rejected, if you think you are not getting a final year project, if you think that you are not learning AI ML, if you think you are not having the statistics background, if you think that you are not even able to get 70 in your scores, all this can only be made better with prayatna. But when the Kala and Deva is able to bestow the blessings on you, even for that prayatna, you get laurels and you get really the success that you deserve for. On that note, I will end this talk and open up a Q&A. There might be specific questions you might have about facing interviews or preparing resumes or what to do as certification. You can open it up on any kind of platform questions. If you feel shy, you can type it on the chat window. Somebody from the organizing team will read that question. But the most important thing is in your life, this moment, unmute yourself. That is what I would give it as a message. If you will unmute, that is the time the world looks at you. Over to you, Bhuvana, and over to the audience.
I'm left speechless. Thank you for a brilliant session. I have learned a lot today. But yes, KK is right. This is your chance to unmute yourself. We will look at you. Over to you all for questions.
What are the 5 coding languages we need to learn?
Can you repeat that?
What are the 5 most coding languages we need to learn?
Okay, that's a fantastic question. Now, I'm going to tell you a guidance. You can differ a little bit there. It's purely a guidance, okay? Now, if you take any application, leave the networks and the hardware and those kind of softwares that you leave that. If you're talking about application software, typically an Amazon kind of an application, a Facebook kind of an application, my MS Office kind of an application, or let's say any kind of ERP. If you're talking about the 90% aspects of software, I'm talking about an application software. What is it today? You need a UI. You need a UI to pass the user-centered data. The user has to enter data. You need a logic layer. The logic layer could be syntax, that could be on a programming language. Now you got the data, you did validations, you did coding. Now you have to store the data. Where will you store? You can store it either on a file or a database. 90% of the applications, even on the cloud, will look like this. You have a UI, you have a programming layer, logic layer, and then you have your database. Now, if you are going to look at this from a front-end UI point of view, you can easily make an Angular JS as your UI language. If you are having something else, no problem, but I'm just taking Angular and JavaScript as a UI layer. From a programming layer, you have multitude of language, Java, C, C++, or so many are there. But if you would look at 90% case, for example, if I'm going to take 10 interviews, out of this 10, at least 6 of them will say, okay, do you know Python and Java? This is mostly asked. So Python would be on the programming language. Now, let's come to the database. Here is the tricky part. If you open your Amazon and then you are scrolling the products, you have not logged in, you are just scrolling the products. You are seeing images, you are seeing product descriptions, so you are scrolling it so fast. This data is not coming from an Oracle or SQL or anything. This data has to be ultra fast. So you have unstructured DB, unstructured databases, something like MongoDB or Hadoop or these kind of unstructured DB, which can be very fast. But on the other hand, you are going to Amazon, logging in, you are going to My Shopping Cart and saying this order, when are you going to deliver? You're going to go into that particular thing. So you are specifically querying with an ID, with the key. That is where you query a structured database, which is Oracle or SQL. Today, in most of the application, you need to have a structured database and an unstructured database. Because for Amazon, if you have to make an e-commerce application, you need both. So one structured database could be SQL or Oracle. One unstructured database, which could be a MongoDB or something like that. So a front end, which could be JavaScript or Angular, a backend programming language, which is Python, a database, which is structured and unstructured. So 4 items you definitely need to study. Now, this is not by just glancing through. These 4 items, I would set a target of 6 to 8 months for you to prepare this. You can't learn it overnight. But outside this, machine learning, automation, DevOps, artificial intelligence, in any of this, if you will just watch YouTube videos, if you will just glance through some pictures, if you are at a high level overview level, it's perfectly fine. If you would watch 10 videos on artificial intelligence, you will get a word called agent AI. If you will query what is an agent AI in Google, it will show a nice picture. You make a note of that in your diagram. And if somebody is asking, what do you know about AI? You say, I don't know much about AI, but I know 2 things. I know what is an agent AI. I know what is an LLM model. If these are the 2 things I know, that too at a conceptual level, I have not implemented much. You have already cracked the interview. Nobody is going to say, okay, build an agent AI right away and show me the code. Nobody is going to do that. But you might definitely be asked, to write a piece of Python code. You might be definitely asked to query an SQL database. So those are the areas where you need to spend a little more. So this is my prescription for a fresher. It might differ slightly here and there, but at a conceptual level, I would encourage you to have this format. Short question, but a long answer. Hope it helped.
Thank you, sir. If anyone else have a question, yes, we got a question from Sandeep. What are the most important key points for freshers to maintain in CV?
Your final year project. Let's say you're preparing a CV. Name, address, LinkedIn link, objective, college, percentage, which branch of engineering. All this without looking your CV, I know it because I'm coming to your college. I'm going to interview final year students of a specific branch. I've already told I want to see only 70% or 60%, some criteria are given. You've already passed a test. So when you're coming for the interview, all of this information is 90% known. So if you're going to repeat this in your CV and your talk, it is going to be boring. So you can keep this, but keep it precise. But on the other hand, if you will write about a project and say, in this project, this was my role. I designed the database for this. So somebody writes half a page on a project, but doesn't tell what they have done in that project. This project is about doing this, doing this, doing this. This is machine learning. This is artificial intelligence. This is LLM model. There is a half a page written with a lot of paragraph lines, but what did you do has to be highlighted. Then the other thing is that, okay, I did one project. I'm going to write one para about it. I don't know anything else. No. Try to put 3 projects. One project you would have actually done. One project, hear the requirement from somebody, try to model it, at least visualize it, see what best you can articulate. Nobody is going to say, repeat that project, write the entire code again. You should be having at least 2 to 3 stories to tell. But if you are making up that story with somebody's reference, make it holistic. You should not be caught off guard. So if you are going to somebody and say, sir, can you give me a project which is doing discriminant analysis or k-means on machine learning, a real world example, they give it to you, go Google it, find out what is it, find out how to model that, put a project and know what to speak about it, learn what is to be the technology artifacts behind it, make it in a presentable way and then lie it. But if you lie it off guard, you are going to be caught. But the project that you are very familiar with, where you have gone hands-on, where you have coded, talk about it always. When you are able to articulate 1 or 2, 3 projects in your resume is having some weightage. Your resume definitely needs to have a separate section for skill sets. And when you mention skill sets, the common thing I see is Windows, Office 365, Teams. Don't put this. As a BE computer science, I don't expect you to know Windows. If you say this, you are making yourself trivial. Try to put in a very coherent fashion. What are the programming languages you know? What are the cloud technologies you know? What are the databases you know? What are the tools and frameworks that you know? And what are the processes that you know? Your skill set section can be elaborated as 5 bullets, but normally 90% of fresher resumes, skill set is C, C++, Java, Oracle, SQL, Hadoop. It is very evident that you are lying. Nobody can learn all of this in 4 years' time. So try to say, this is how I have modeled my skill set. That needs to come out very evidently. And the most important thing is have something more than work. For example, have you volunteered something? Have you participated in some events? Have you attended some conference? And the latest thing, people are so crazy about 2 things. One is, have you published some paper? So try to There are umpteen places where you can publish. Try to publish one paper in some journal, or doesn't matter whichever journal it is. 4 or 5 people even join together and do it. At least have one paper mentioned there. If you don't have it now, you can attempt it to do it in the next 6 months. Tackle. So the most important thing is teamwork. You figure out whom I am going to do my final year project in the last month of the final year. No, at the third year, become friends. At least I remember, we were a bunch of 4 people, 4 idiots who really don't know anything about coding, anything. We were ultimately blank. We said, "Hum charo log final year project saath mein karenge. We'll figure it out." We went to many companies together like begging bowl, saying that give us a project, give us a project, give us a project. Sometimes we ask, do you know to code? You also don't know to code. You know to do UI? No, you also don't. How will we do this project? But we had a solid project to tell. Things happen. Again, the same message. Miracles do happen. So our final year project was also a miracle. So form your grouping in third year. Your final year project should be planned at the third year end, and then you should go for all of this. That is one. Your final year project, if suppose you want to go and ask, suppose you come to me and say, KK, I want to do my project in Microsoft. I will say, definitely, but I'm sorry, I cannot help you there. I really cannot help you there, because most of the companies have centralized this process. You will be writing some exam or a shortlisting process where you're going to be called for internship. You have to make the cut there. And then out of that, they might take 100 people. Those 100 people might come from Kashmir or Kanyakumari, doesn't matter. So this is where you will have to run for the rat race. Now, let's say you did not get an internship. Let's say all your colleagues and all your peers went for internship. You did not go. So what is the right attitude? Oh, I never got a project. Oh, everybody got internship. I never got. Don't brood over it. You should know what is the right question to ask. If you come to KK and say, I want to do a project in Microsoft, I'll cut a sorry. But if you will come to me and say, sir, I want 15 minutes of your time. I am good at this skill set. Can you give me 2 or 3 problem statements? Just give me problem statements. And if you can give me another half an hour, 3 months down the line, if I am ready to do a project, will you evaluate that and give me some guidance? So mind you, the project that you are doing in your final year, it is not for the chapa that you need. You don't need that project certificate, Microsoft Corporation, Bangalore. You don't need that. You can do it at your home, at your college, wherever you want with your laptop. We are also having the same Dell laptop here. You are also going to have. There is no point entering these glass buildings for your project. You need the right problem statement. If again and again you will come back in your CV saying that I did library management system, carpooling system, Uber and Ola booking, these are not the projects we would like to hear. Do not bring these projects. You are digging your own pit for this. When you have a project, it needs to have a story to tell. You should be proud of that story. Sir, I went to this company. I met this person. He asked me to Google this topic. I Googled it. This is the problem statement. I did not know about this. I found it and did it. This is his evaluation feedback. If this is how you're going to make your final year project, it has a meaning towards it. So the most important question to ask industry leaders will be, give me problem statement, real world problem statements which I can pick up for my final year project. Do not go and say, I want to do final year project inside your company premises. The question has to be different. That would be my answer.
Thank you so much, sir. Anyone else, if you want to ask anything before we close the session? Okay. Kaushik asked, I want to get into SAP for the past 4 months. I have got to know that the modules are and what they do, but still I'm confused and which module to choose and where to learn it. Some people are saying that SAP might not have any importance in the future because AI or Capilot might take over. Sir, can you suggest to me where can I learn and get trained for the SAP platform?
So Beju Kaushik, I assume that you have 3 to 4 lakhs on your pocket. And if you can just transfer it to me, I can send you the course registration immediately for you. So SAP modules, sales and distribution, manufacturing management, production planning, FI, controlling, all of these modules have a course fee of 2.5 lakhs. So if you are going to go to somebody, they are going to take 2.5 lakhs for you and put you 3,000 slides in 40 days and say you are going to do an SAP course. Please don't do this, because if you do not know anything about finance, if you do not know anything about sales and distribution, if you do not know anything about manufacturing, learning the software alone doesn't help. But on the other hand, let's say you studied well, you got placed in Tata Motors. You worked in Tata Motors for 2 years. You have seen a production assembly. You know what is a bill of material. You know what is an order. You know what is an invoice. You know what is a production order. If you know all of this, and then you want to do an SAP course, best thing to do in life. So you learn manufacturing, you do the module of SAP to take your career forward. Let's say you joined Oracle Financials, you learned finance to a reasonable level, and then you're doing a certification on Oracle Financials or SAP FI. That would add value. So when you register for a course as a fresher, be very cautious. Do not invest on something just for the heck of it. If you are registering for AI/ML course, if you are doing online MBA for AI/ML, mind you, you need to have an extremely good hold on statistics and mathematics. If you do not know the meaning of standard deviation, if you cannot write the formula for standard deviation and variance right away on the paper, AI/ML is not your cup of tea. You need to first get that to join a certification course on AI/ML. So doing a course, doing a certification is not a shortcut for a job. Doing a real project, getting hands dirty is the way to a job. And another thing, it has to be definite. It cannot be SAP with AI/ML, with Java, with .NET. No, then you are again not focused. You really need to be very, for example, in this 25 years, if I worked for SAP, would I not have got a call from a TCS or an Infosys? I could have done 2 years of SAP, 2 years of Java, 3 years of .NET. I could have been a hopping monkey, right? But narrowing down, this is my cup of tea. This is the technology I want to work on. This is my area domain. That brings the focus. And when you do that, oh, I don't like my manager. In this team, there is no growth. I have been put as a tester in this team. Oh, I do not see a future here. SAP will close down. These myths have been there for the last 35 years. Nothing has happened. SAP is a rock solid company. And yesterday, it was announced that SAP is the largest company in Europe. Their share price have gone so much that yesterday, out of all the companies in Europe, SAP has taken the first position. You can check it in the news. When I joined SAP 25 years back also, the same thing they said, does SAP have a future? This is the same question. Do not get into this noise. Do not read WhatsApp messages. Do not get into social media. Your point has to be, I need to learn something solid. I need to capitalize that learning to get into a job. I need to stick to that domain and the technology for the next 2 years and decide my bottom portion of my tea. This has to be your complete focus. If you will go all over the place, you will never. So I'll tell you, this is my favorite thing to tell. If you need water, you have to dig in one place continuously for hours together and days together. If you will dig 2 feet here, 2 feet there, 2 feet in the next house, 2 feet in the neighboring ground, you will never ever get water. It might be 30 feet for you or 300 feet for you, but you have to dig in one single place. That will fetch you the water. too much of an advice for the day, I think.
Very valuable, nevertheless. At least Biju Kaushik got his answer. Anybody else? Ashwini, I did see a thumbs up from you. Any comments?
Sir, can you explain fast track approach and how we should implement in our life?
So you are hearing a lot of these topics, right? Python, AI, ML. You have to choose one. At least somewhere you should have some interest. For example, I was not good at coding. I did not like C++, but somewhere I felt that I'm probably better with Oracle database queries. Select statement likhna acha lagta tha. Because it was only always 2 lines, you don't write to 30,000 lines, right? So I was always happy with databases. That was the point where I felt that, okay, let me pick up this for my final year project. So you have this full gamut of technology, AI, ML, Python, Java, .NET, SAP, so many things are there. At least somewhere you have to start with one. Don't deviate. Only stick on to that and then go deeper. If you want to do a course, if you want to look at YouTube videos, talk to somebody who will teach the basics. Find somebody who will do your error fixing on the initial code. One topic you have to start. That would alone shape it up. Now, let's say you have done Python. You are able to decently program. You are able to make at least 10-20 programs which are working. Now pick up. If you will do Python only for the next 2.5 years, then you will be missing something. You will have to really wait a long time. So at some point you should know to logically close things. Okay, let me also know a little bit about security. Let me also, even if Python is there, I need to know how to use Python on a cloud. So let me learn one of the cloud. So you have to start from the center of the circle and expand the sphere slowly. Some people can expand very fast. A person like me will take a lot of time. For me, it is very slow and it is only by homework. I was not able to complete my exercises whenever I was taught a new language or anything. I used to lag behind, and for me it was slow. But I used to do the homework. I never gave up. So from an attitude point of view, I never gave up on any day. Even if I was told that you are poor at this, you are not able to beat the race, no problem. I may not be able to beat it today. I may not be able to beat it in 10 days. I will beat it over 100-day period. That's how I take it. So you can be a person who is not a master of something, but take it slow. But you have to take it consistently. Consistency is important. As I said, it has to be you should have that fire in you that, okay, boss, I am not good at communication. I need to master this. I will set this target. I will go to 10 people to give me a formula of what are all the things I need to do. I will get good, bad, and ugly suggestions. I need to know how to shortlist something. I need to go to somebody and say, hey, I'm confused. I've got all this, but I cannot do all this. I'm confused. Make this smaller for me. Go and ask somebody. They will help you. But all of this, the key is interaction. If you will do this on your own, you will never be able to crack the puzzle. The puzzle is so complicated. So even today, after 25 years in the industry, if I have a problem in office, I will talk to at least 3-4 well-wishers, take their suggestion, but ultimately the decision will be mine. I will take the 4 suggestions. Maybe I will take exactly what they said, but I will definitely make sure that I interact. So the most important thing is, if you want to make that structure for you, what could you do for the next 6 months? It has to be an individual counseling session with somebody as an expert. We should be able to find somebody for you. If you would raise up and say, yes, I need this, you will have to open that channel.
I'm asking a question on behalf of the students, of the mentees who I interact with. a lot of them are anxious and nervous. They said at the time of, the feedback they got during a mock interview, that they were nervous. The teacher said they're nervous. You have given many examples and many and maybe I can relate to it. The age gap between me and them, being so that I feel sometimes their anxiety is of a different kind than we had when we were giving interviews, when we were facing the job market. So how do you, what would be your suggestion to them? Like how they can, I gave the suggestion from my perspective, whatever I could think of. But after hearing today's session, I believe that the technology industry or the interviews for the tech people, for the engineering candidates, have also different nuances to it than just a general interview. So some suggestions on that side from you, KK?
Okay, let's make this very interesting, okay? Early days I struggled, but I definitely got a good job at SAP. I worked there 17 years. Then I went to Honeywell as a director. I went to JP Morgan as an executive director. At some point, this fever caught me. I want to join the FANG companies. And the first person to bug was Bona. Okay, I went and said, I want to join the FANG company. FANG companies means Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Microsoft, Google. These are the FANG company. You can Google it. So there is an acronym for this. I said, I need this in my resume. Okay. So I'm working in a nice, so I'm not talking about a fresher stage or even 10. I was 23 years experience at that time. And I'm saying I want to switch my job. Now, there are out of 33 people, only 19 are left. Okay, many have dropped. They have found it boring. Okay, no problem. Now, question to these 19 people. I have joined Microsoft in the year 2024, 1 year plus now. A wild guess, how many interviews I would have attended only in Microsoft? At a director level, not even at a developer level, at a director level. Take a guess.
15, 20?
More than 20.
More than 20? A person at a director level will take more than 20 interviews?
Can.
Actually, you are right. I have taken 28 interviews. What was the need? Why should you exert yourself so much? So I apply for a position, first round, second round, third round. I meet the hiring manager. I go to the next level. Then normally these companies would have 6-level interviews or 7 levels. 6th round, I'm rejected. Again, give a cooling gap of 6 months. Again, apply for a different position. All rounds cleared. I don't know. Suddenly they said this position is vanished. We cannot take you. Gone. Back to square one. Again, 6 months later, applied for a different position. So at least I did this 4 or 5 times. So I have noted this in my diary. In fact, 2 of the people I have met second time also. So overall, if I look at each interview as 1 hour, between the year 2022 and 2024, at a director level, I have attended 28 interviews to come to this position. Now,
Wow.
Now, do you think that it will be such a great feeling to get rejected at a company again and again and again? Will you not feel ashamed? Will you not give up? If at 24 years of experience at a director level, somebody can face it. Life is like this. There will be 10 ups and 20 downs. There will be a place where you will be humiliated. There will be a place where you will be dejected. There will be somebody who will mock you, make fun of you. There will be 20 failures. There will be 30 opportunities. I think it is required to build that resilience. And that resilience should be so strong that it is like you should never give up your dreams. Okay, so this has to be there in your DNA. And suppose you are not confident, you're anxious, you fail in the interviews, excellent, fail again. Your anxiety will go away. You're feeling bad, well and good. Feel bad, wet your pillows, shed some tears. That's the best way to learn.
Very nice. Thank you so much. It's not just encouraging for them, but for us as well. We are in the, the social startup. We have Bhuvna and me, and we have many anxious days and many anxious, time. Yes. Thank you. Thanks.
So decide what you want and be generous in that. Decide what you want, whatever may be your age. But once decided, there is no looking back. It might be unreasonable. I don't come from an IIT. I don't come from an NIT. I don't have the tech skills that the Gen Z has. I'm not an AML expert. But I was very clear that there is a place that I can bag. And I was very sure that I'm missing something in each of this, but it took 28 times to hit it. So when I see a YouTube video, somebody who's posting, I cracked my first interview in Google, I would really feel jealous.
Today's talk has been really wonderful. I mean, I can relate to it now, having, interacted with the mentees for the last 3-4 weeks, at least now, I think 5 to 6 weeks now. And you have addressed so many issues that they are facing, and I would say that, they're not very forthcoming. Like, they have been silent most of the time. They have been off the video most of the time. It could be because of shyness. It could be because of, lack of the kind of speaking out, kind of a thing. It's not because the lecture was boring. Lecture was not even a single sentence, single word was boring. It was very captivating, session. So it's just that their hesitation to, I think, come out and, speak is there, still there. Yeah. And we are working on that. I think that's the whole purpose of this program, that by end of 3 months, they themselves are saying that they're finding, some improvement in their own way, in their own, confidence and conversation. And we hope by the end of the 3rd month, when we have a guest lecture, all of them are jumping to speak. Right?
I also found this opportunity great, and I'm thankful for this, and I hope you found some meaning and value out of this. Thanks for this opportunity.
Thank you so much. We are really grateful, and I think our mentees had a wonderful, session. And I'm sure, Shruti, have we recorded this so that those who have missed it can also watch it later also? Shruti?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Your insights were truly enlightening, and I'm sure our mentees would have gained clarity on a lot of things, and a knowledge you have shared undoubtedly will help them in their growth and development. So thank you so much for the amazing session, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. An amazing session. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Bye, everybody. Thank you.